Now, president of Citizens United and former deputy campaign manager to the Donald Trump 2016 presidential campaign, David Bossie. David, thank you for joining me. So, David, McConnell is just ready to bury the hatchet here and unify the party. But that would have been nice before he gave his whole Trump impeachment speech, blaming Trump for, quote, the incitement on January 6th, when we all know that that's not what Trump did.
That's exactly right, Stephanie. Thanks for having me back. It's a frustrating thing. Mitch McConnell is a very smart politician. He understands that words and actions have consequences in public policy and in elections. And I think what he did in giving that speech, and I do think he would take it back if he could. He would not give that same speech again. But I think he gave it as an emotional response, and I think it was a mistake. But President Trump and Mitch McConnell have one thing in common, and that is they both are going to work towards recruiting candidates, raising the money, and building the public policy platform from which we will win back the House and Senate in 2022. That's an incredibly important thing. It's an important piece of the legacy for both President Trump and Senator McConnell because it shortens Joe Biden's horrific presidency. I'm already done with this after 70 some odd days. The fundamental transformation to a socialist nation that every American, regardless of your party, regardless of your political stripe, you see what they are doing. Joe Biden used to say, do I look like a radical socialist to you? Well, the answer is yes. The answer is 100%. You are no longer that Trojan horse people were worried about. You are actually bringing forth and trying to turn America into a socialist nation. And that's what's going to unify Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, and every Republican and independent and Democrat who loves America.
Absolutely. We're stronger together, but a lot of us have a hard time letting go of those Republicans who came out against Trump, who were so dishonest, who just wanted to be loved by the mainstream media, score some political points at Trump's expense and the expense of all of Trump supporters, if you think about it, because Trump supporters aren't supporting somebody who's inciting violence and calling for riots. That's not what we support. And so it was a huge disappointment. And a lot of those Republicans who came out against Trump, who spoke out against him, who supported impeachment, are probably going to have to pay for that in 2022 election-wise.
Well, I think they are. And when you say, and this is what the mainstream media has tried to do, is minimize us, the Trump supporter. And so, you and I are having a conversation and we say, we have to focus. It was 75 million Americans voted for President Trump. The most of any Republican presidential candidate in American history. And we just got to also focus that the Congress of the United States is the smallest, slimmest margin for the Democrats in 100 years, the smallest margin. The Senate is literally 50-50. And President Trump, is not president because of about 40,000 votes in 3 states. This is a divided nation. This was not a vote in November for Joe Biden's platform or policies or to make America into a socialist nation. We are a divided nation. And what the Democrats are doing is ramming these policies down our throats, using executive orders, using parliamentary procedures and tricks in the House and Senate. That's going to come to a quick end. And we see Joe Manchin, thankfully, standing up, and Kristen Sinema standing up to the bullies on the left in the Senate, saying we're not going to get rid of the filibuster because it fundamentally changes the United States Senate for the future. Because think about what the Democrats are going to do, but think about what the Republicans will do when they get control of this body again, and they will. So we have a long way to go, but we're going to fight the Biden radical socialist agenda every step of the way.
Yeah, I will say I don't take issue with Trump calling out those Republicans who turned on him, because they didn't just turn on Trump. Again, as you pointed out, they turned on the 75 million Americans who supported Trump. That being said, we're going to have to put that aside and move forward, focus on the America First policies, because everything's at stake here. The Biden administration is not hiding where they stand politically. The Biden administration, Biden has been going crazy on executive orders, as you pointed out. They want to go after the filibuster. They want to pack the courts. They are letting the border go totally out of control. It's a humanitarian crisis now at the border. And so it's disastrous. And a lot of Americans who thought maybe Joe Biden was going to, quote, be moderate Joe, like the mainstream media painted him out to be, are realizing actually, no, not at all. It's like socialist communist Joe, by the way. And a lot of those who supported Joe Biden are probably having buyer's remorse on Biden. And so I'm assuming we'll see that at the polls.
Could not agree more. Absolutely buyer's remorse across the country. We see it. I travel the country. I've talked to a lot of Americans, some of which did not vote for Donald Trump, and they absolutely have buyer's remorse. Look, elections and the future of America is about addition, not subtraction. So we as a party have to figure out a way to win those important states. That's on us. We have to do that. We have to talk to the American people about what the Republican Party, what our candidates that we are going to have standing in 2022, what they stand for, what they are, how they are different than the radical Biden socialist agenda. And that's why, that's what's going to bring all of us together. To go back to your earlier point, we are stronger together. President Trump and Mitch McConnell both know that, and they know that they need each other in order to be successful in the midterms. And that's what is the sole focus of President Trump. I can assure everyone that he wants to win back the House and, if possible, win back the Senate. The Senate map's very difficult in 2022. There's 20 Republican seats up and only 14 Democrats, and so it's a hard map. But we can win back the Senate, but we definitely can take the majority in the House. And I got to tell you, that's an exciting, optimistic view, because it shuts down this radical Biden socialist agenda immediately.